Vajragarbha Bodhisattva. Thereupon, Vajragarbha Bodhisattva, who was in the assembly, arose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, circled him thrice from the right, bowed down upon his knees, brought together his two palms with crossed fingers, and said, "O world-honored one of great compassion, you have so well expounded to all bodhisattvas the expedient method of gradual practice, from the cause ground of the great Dharani door to the Tathagata's pure and clean, complete enlightenment, so that they and all living beings can be rid of their ignorance. After hearing your teaching, all those in the assembly are free from obstructing illusions, and their wisdom eyes are now pure and clean. World-honored one, if all living beings are fundamentally in the state of Buddhahood, how can there be all sorts of ignorance? If all living beings fundamentally are ignorant in all sorts of ways, why does the Tathagata now say that they are fundamentally in the state of Buddhahood? If different beings in the 10 directions of space were fundamentally in the state of Buddhahood first, and afterward gave rise to ignorance, when would all the Tathagatas give rise to passions or klesha again? May you not forsake your kindness. Pray open the secret treasury of profound wisdom for the benefit of bodhisattvas and all future living beings in the period of the Dharma's termination, so that when they hear the teaching of this sutra, they will not give rise to further doubts about its revelation of the whole truth." After saying these words, he again made the same prostration and the same request for a second and third time. Thereupon, the world-honored one said to Vajragarbha Bodhisattva, "Excellent, excellent! Virtuous man, it is good that for the benefit of bodhisattvas and of future living beings in the period of the Dharma's termination, you are able to ask the Tathagata about the expedient method of practice of the very secret and profound ultimate whole truth. It is the highest teaching of the Mahayana's whole truth, reserved for bodhisattvas, so that all learning and practicing bodhisattvas in the 10 directions and all future living beings in the period of the Dharma's termination can develop a decisive faith and cut off their doubts forever. Listen attentively to what I now tell you." Vajragarbha Bodhisattva was filled with joy upon hearing this. He and the assembly kept silent to hear the teaching. The Buddha said, "Virtuous man, all realms whose beginning and end, creation and annihilation, precedence and subsequence, existence and non-existence, production and dissolution, rise and cessation, succeed one another in every moment of thought, and replace one another by rotation, with all kinds of attachment and detachment, are but samsara. If those who are still on samsara's wheel discuss complete enlightenment, then even the latter rotates as well, and cannot yet escape from samsara. For instance, when sight is disturbed, one can see waves in still water, and when sight is steady, one can see the ring of fire drawn by a circling torch. In the same way, the moon appears to move past floating clouds, and the banks of a river past a boat which is sailing by them. Virtuous man, while there is this movement, even those objects which were unchanging before cannot be found. Still less can the impure mind, which fluctuates in samsara and is still not pure and clean, succeed in looking into the Buddha's complete enlightenment without moving in a circle. Because of this, you give rise to 3 kinds of illusions. Virtuous man, for instance, because of an optical illusion, a flower is falsely seen in the sky. If the illusion vanishes, it cannot be asked, "This optical illusion has vanished. When will others appear?" Why? Because the flower and the optical illusion are not mutually dependent. Likewise, when the illusory flower disappears in the sky, it cannot be asked when it will appear again. Why? Because fundamentally there is no flower in the sky which is beyond creation and extinction. Samsara and nirvana are identical with creation and extinction, but perfect insight into wonderful enlightenment is beyond both flower and optical illusion. Virtuous man, you should know that space neither exists nor is non-existent for an instant. How much more so is the case with the Tathagata's complete enlightenment, which, in accord with space, is its fundamental universal nature. Virtuous man, when, for instance, gold ore is smelted, the fine gold obtained does not exist because of the smelting. As it is fine gold now, it will be so permanently and will never decay. Therefore, it cannot be said that gold fundamentally does not exist. The Tathagata's complete enlightenment is like fine gold. Virtuous man, the completely enlightened minds of all Tathagatas are neither Bodhi nor Nirvana, neither attain nor do not attain Buddhahood, and are neither samsara nor not samsara. Virtuous man, even the Shravakas who have succeeded in realizing a state where body, mind, word, and speech are entirely extinct, are still unable to enter nirvana, the appearance of which has been evident to them. How much more so are those who use their discriminating minds to fathom the state of the Tathagata's complete enlightenment. The futility of their attempt to do so is comparable to the use of the fire of fireflies to scorch Mount Sumeru. He who uses samsaric mind and samsaric conceptions in his attempts to enter the Tathagata's great ocean of stillness and extinction will never succeed. Therefore, I say that all bodhisattvas and future living beings in the period of the Dharma's termination should first cut off the basic cause of samsara, which has no beginning. Virtuous man, all mental activity and thinking arise in the discriminating mind and cause the deceptive reflection of the six sense data. They are not really the substance of mind. If this thinking, which is already like a flower in the sky, is used to discuss the state of Buddhahood, the result will be that that state which is already an illusory flower will produce an illusory fruit and will increase false thoughts. Virtuous man, in spite of its cunning views, this unreal floating mind cannot succeed in the expedient cultivation of complete enlightenment. Because of this discrimination, your question is not proper. To repeat his instruction, the world-honored one read the following gatha. Vajragarbha, you should know that the Tathagata's nirvanic nature has no end and no beginning. If samsaric mind is used, its thoughts as they recur reach only to samsara. They enter not the Buddha ocean. Thus, when gold ore is smelted, gold does not exist because of that. Though it regains its real nature, it needed smelting to be refined. Once it becomes true gold, it cannot be ore again. Samsara and nirvana, all beings and all Buddhas are but flowers in the sky. Since thinking is but transformation, what from falsity can be expected? If this mind clearly is cognized, true enlightenment can then be sought.